Thank you for joining me today on Good News with Twanda Black, where we're discovering some of the most inspiring trials to triumph stories and empowerment moments. Call up a friend and let them know it's time for some good news. Hello, family, and welcome to Good News with Twanda Black. I am your host. You know, we talk with folks from all walks of life about what's happening great in their lives, because ultimately, if your brothers and sisters are doing great, so are you. So welcome. Sit back, relax, and enjoy my next guest. Joining us is Mary Hill Hart. She is a licensed therapist and CEO of Hart Recovery. How are you doing, Mary?
I am doing well. How about you?
Good. It's so good to see you again.
Likewise.
So today I want to talk about the most prevalent thing that is happening in society for us right now. Gosh, we've got mass shootings and so much going on. I want to talk about mental illness and the violence that's happening with us, really about how we cannot make ourselves so afraid, that we're just scared of everything right now. So let's talk about mental illness. A lot of people think that you'll see somebody, that mental illness is an outward thing, that you see them, on the sides of the streets and they're somewhere talking loud and, just doing all kinds of stuff. It's so much more than that.
Yes, it is. And thank you for bringing that up. And I'm glad that we're talking about this because it's so serious, because there's so many people that are struggling with mental illness that's silent. Daily on my caseload, if I just ask one or two questions, that will help me determine if there is a traumatic background because of domestic violence. A lot of times the adults that I have, I have to unfortunately dig to say, what was your household like growing up? Was it a chaotic household? Because if you see your parents going through that, you do not realize how the behaviors manifest and grows within you, and you start doing certain things as an adult. You have no idea why you have to do that.
Exactly.
And it's terrifying, simply because if your parents were going at blows, you know how I am with my therapy. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Mm-hmm. There's no way to sugarcoat it. If they're going to blows, whether there's an alcoholic parent or whether there's someone that's addicted to substances or just somebody who's just straight out mean, you as a child, you're gonna find ways to comfort yourself. Mm-hmm. And that may be eating, that may be sleeping, that may be self-injurious behaviors, cutting on yourselves or pulling your hair out, or you can develop OCD. And I say that respectfully because the only thing you can control for some kids is straightening up their room or having a schedule or just doing their homework extra hard, because thinking that if I work extra hard, then I'll be recognized and maybe that will make that environment better.
Well, that was me. That was me as a kid. I grew up in a violent household, and straight A's was my thing. I was smart. It didn't help anything in retrospect. But I tell you that you really do think that as a kid, that maybe if I fly under the radar, if I'm great, if I do everything right, this will not be happening.
Right.
Okay.
And that's true. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because I came from a household where I heard my parents argue. I didn't see any physical violence because that all stopped before I was old enough. My sister, my late sister, Sheila, she witnessed that growing up because she was 2 or 3 or 4 before I came along. Well, my parents got a divorce. And what my behaviors that I realized later on was it was a control thing. I had to make sure everything was meticulous. I had to, because, and again, I had to do my homework and I had to make sure that I did everything right. And so that is what, I wanted to follow the rules per
Yeah.
se,
Yeah.
because I didn't like that chaos, and I didn't like the decision because there was a disruption to my family, and I
Right.
did everything I could to try to control that. And just like you with grades, you
And
know,
and then we grow up almost perfectionists. Some people grow up totally perfectionist,
absolutely,
but we
absolutely,
grow, and man, does that, it does something to you to try to be perfect all the time, because you're not going to be perfect.
absolutely. And a lot of times it's devastating to a person when they sit before me and they can't understand why they can never come down off of this anxiety, or why they're always jittery. And I have to let them know that I think it's Taraji P. Hinton. She said it perfectly. Perfection is the perfect lie.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm so glad that she said that from her standpoint with her fame and so forth.
Mhm.
But we as therapists have been saying that for the longest, and just to allow our clients to know that it's really okay to be imperfect, and there's no judgment, period. Because really, who is
Right.
the owner of the rule book?
Right.
Who is that person, or what is that phenomenon? Where, let me find that person, or
Tell
that.
me, right?
I have a whole bunch of conversations for that phantom. So the reality is, it's devastating, and it trickles down to relationships. It's how you
Okay.
treat one another. It's just how you're even how you affect, the impact on your body.
That's right. That's right. So many different things, and so then we carry that, of course, as children
Yeah,
into young adulthood, and you carry it into your adult life, like you said, wondering, why am I doing this thing that's not good for me? But here's the thing: at some point, you have to say to yourself, "This is not healthy." I
right,
don't know how do you get there, but this is not healthy, and you need help. That's what I had to do.
right,
So I began with therapy. For me, it was life changing. It
right,
really was. Yeah.
right. And you're right. Something, a lot of times when a person comes to therapy, they come because of an activating event that's devastating.
Mm,
And realistically, therapy is supposed to be maintenance. That's
yeah.
how therapy, from what I was taught, and academically, it's supposed to be check-ins. What is working? Because I have clients that I see on a monthly basis, and I just want to know what's working. Whatever's working, let's leave it alone, and let's tighten up those things that we need to continue
Hmm.
to get better. But the reality is, going to therapy is probably one of the best things that anybody can do, because it gives you a safe space to be able to dump out everything
That's right.
and to release it and let it go.
No
And
judgment zone.
absolutely not, because and as a therapist, you've heard me say before, therapists need therapy, need a therapist. And if you have a therapist that does not believe in therapy for themselves, I just need to do a little bit more homework, because I too, outside of my role, I have a family, I have other issues, a lot of things going on. I need to dump this out on somebody.
Yeah, yeah. So, that's for those of us who can manage ourselves or have people that can help us through. However,
Right.
there are a lot of people out there who are over the age of consent. Adults have nothing to do with it. They
Correct.
don't believe in therapy. They don't think they have a problem. I'm
Yeah.
certainly not taking no medication. I mean,
Yeah.
it just goes on and on. And so I'm not saying that's what we're seeing, but that is what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of mental illness out here that has not been treated.
Correct. And that's where you're going to get the baby boomers, because my parents are in the baby boomer age range, which is of course 70 and up, give and take. Yeah, that's something that their generation does not believe in.
Yeah.
And some of them do, and I thank God for it. But the only thing that we can do is, in the church community, what do they say, Twanda? Just pray about it,
Yeah.
which is fine. However,
In addition to,
come on
right.
now.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. So talk therapy, we see Our mother and father's generation drinking, they don't think they have a problem because they can control it, or
Right.
they're responsible for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
There's some old heads that smoke weed,
Still. Mm-hmm.
and again, no judgment to
Got
those who,
some of my family.
that feel that that's the way that they can, work on their issues. But at the end of the day, a lot of them are crying in silence.
Yeah.
They have health issues that they don't realize have manifested because of overstress or
Mm-hmm.
poor eating habits or drinking and drugging or whatever it is. And now that they're
Consequences. Yeah.
absolutely, because I let everybody know whatever you're doing today is going to impact you in 25 years.
Thank you.
Good,
Thank
bad, or different. I don't care what it is. The only thing that we can do is be a model for our family members, number one.
Mm-hmm.
To have a candid conversation with them to let them know about their latter days, because one of my mottos, or my main motto for my practice, is I truly believe that your latter days will be better than your former days. My thing is, how are you going to ride this out?
Yeah.
Are you going to continue to deal with the drama, deal with the PTSD symptoms, deal with the self-medicating, which is, alcohol or drugs? Are you going to deal with just the bad relationships and just being hostile versus just saying, hey, I'm tired? Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? And the only thing you can let them know is, hey, here's the resources, utilize it. I'm here to walk with you. Again, no judgment, whatever your issues or whatever your past is. If you don't want to work with someone, then obtain forgiveness. Write it down. Tell them to journal and ask for forgiveness for whoever those persons were that impacted them in a negative light. I don't care if it was the bus driver that wouldn't let them off the bus. I don't care if it was that first husband that, whooped you, or that first wife that whooped you in some way, whether it's verbally, physically, emotionally, financially. Bottom line is, if nothing else, get some forgiveness.
So Mary, let's talk about the violence that we're seeing in our country. They're mostly young people.
Yeah.
So as a parent, what are we looking for? Some parents say, I didn't know. Now, some parents knew.
Come on now.
They know who their children are.
Absolutely.
They know they had weapons. They've seen the behavior. They killed a cat or whatever, did some
Correct.
and some violent tendencies, and
right.
just
punching holes in the wall.
Right. They poo-pooed it.
Yeah.
And so as a parent, realistically, what are we looking for?
Definitely start checking with sleeping patterns, eating patterns. First of all, what's in the household? What has changed? What about the clothes? What about the appearance?
Yeah.
Not only that, you need to start spot checking the phone, because that phone, our phones or computers or laptops or tablets, any electronic things that can connect us to other people that we do not know,
right.
Start spot checking, number one. Number three. But the reality is, have a conversation and ask what's going on.
Yeah.
And be willing to hear the truth, even if you don't want to, and even if you don't know what to say after that. Listen, sometimes silence is the best thing that you can do to allow someone else to just be free and comfortable enough just to say what's on their mind without that judgment. Now, the parents that are not ready to hear the truth, what I always say is, then don't complain and don't come up with this, well, I didn't know and it's because of this. That's where you need to start doing a self-check.
Mm-hmm.
Really, what are you doing? I mean, I just had a client text me yesterday because she had a 6-pack of margarita drinks that her husband had brought. Her husband had brought. She drank one. She started the other one, but threw it down the drain because she said that she's not really a drinker. Well, guess what? 2 of them were missing. So now it's, so she's like, what am I supposed to do? My 14-year-old, I found a bottle in her room. So the point is, I went in on what's your patterns at home. Are you drinking on a regular basis? First of all, because we got to start with us as an adult. What are we showing them, or what are we seeing that we're easily able to miss? Well, she's not a drinker on a regular basis. She only does it on celebratory things. So she was able to recognize that. Now, the ones who turn it up every weekend, with the weed and the partying and all of that, so they're going to slip through the cracks until their daughter or their son show up with either a baby, or a drug habit, or something obviously missing in the household,
Right.
Or not even who want to distance themselves. So we need to start paying attention to, what are you noticing that is different? That just do an observation. Start with 7 days. Observations. What is the patterns of my daughters or my sons? What are they doing that may be a little different that I may not have noticed before? Is the dressing changing? The hair changing? Are they sagging a little, more? Do they want more tennis shoes, or are they looking for certain brands? So start looking, start looking and paying attention. Just observe for about 7 days, and then look at the friends, listen to the conversations.
Yeah. Don't be scared. Here's the thing. Some parents are really afraid to talk to their children, or to ask them questions, or, what you watching on TV? Let me see. Give me your phone. What did you just say? What did I hear you say in the next room? I was not eavesdropping. However, or who are these children? You cannot be afraid, because like you said, not even 20 years. These kids are in their 20s. So we're talking 10 years. Parents, I know you've seen it. All this stuff did not happen in silence.
No.
It didn't happen in the dark. There were changes in your kids.
Yeah.
And so on the backside of that, I think that as a society, we're afraid.
We are.
Like my mom, if she's behind somebody and the light is changed, she won't even blow her horn. They on their phone, but I'm just like, Mama, don't blow your horn. They might shoot you.
Right.
We as a society have become afraid to just do normal things. I'm not talking about getting out the car, the road rage. That's a whole nother story.
Right.
Or just normal, regular things. People don't want to be out in crowds now, because
Correct.
what's happening.
Right.
You don't want to do outside events. You don't want to do inside events. You don't want to do anything because you're afraid. That's a terrible way to live.
And that's prison. The reality is, we all have our time.
Yeah.
When it's our time to go, it's our time to go. Get your houses in order, and then in the meantime, enjoy your life.
Live.
And you have to, because if there's so many people that are dying every day, there's so many things that's going on with sex trafficking and people disappearing. If you know that you have done what you needed to do, meaning make sure that taking general precautionary things. Women don't walk in a parking deck by themselves. Just the obvious things. But as your mother, going to the light and don't want to honk, and I get it, because my generation, with my age, the gangs were back in the day when I was growing up, that you couldn't flash your lights because that was some type of a sign. Or even if you did honk, that's another sign of, you trying to challenge me. But the reality is, show kindness, show love, trust the process. But not only that, get yourself out of that bondage and know that you're going to be okay. And just be who you are, but don't sit there and live in fear, because if that's the case, you're going to be stuck in bondage, and your latter days are going to be so miserable.
Yeah.
So miserable. And not only that, internally,
Hmm.
You're tearing up your stomach. You're tearing up your heart rate, your blood pressure, your eating. I mean, it changes everything.
It does. Fear, fear.
Fear and false evidence appearing real.
Real. Hmm.
And I tell a lot of my clients with anxiety, here's the reality. Am I truly in danger? Do a self check. Be in the present. Where am I at right now? Because it doesn't really matter if someone wants to act a fool. Twanda, you know, somebody's always watching, right?
Yes, yes.
Always there's a camera somewhere. Somebody's recording something. If not, I promise you, somebody will record something.
Right, right.
So just be you and trust that not everybody. I mean, here's two people right here. We're not that one
Right.
that will get offended if you honk behind us.
Right.
So your mom and anybody out there listening need to know not everybody in society is that way. The reality is we've glamorized it with social media as well as news because, and it's a good thing, but it's also a negative thing. It's a good thing that it's bringing awareness, so everybody is on the same accord that these are things that you need to be careful about. However, it's traumatic. It causes stress and anxiety. I hear people say all the time, I don't watch the news. I don't watch the news. I can't watch the news. It's okay to watch it, but don't get fixated on it.
Yes.
Please don't get fixated. Just keep yourself abreast of what's going on and keep it moving.
That 24-hour cycle will stress you out. Hearing the same madness over and over and over for 24 hours,
Right.
No, not good, not good. Mary, our time is up, but please tell folks how they can reach out to you, how they can learn more about you.
You can reach me at my office for Hart Recovery Center, LLC at 478-227-8502. Visit my website at heartrecoveryscenter.clientsecure.me. Again, that's heartrecoveryscenter.clientsecure.me, or call my office and we'll get back to you within 24 to 48 hours.
All right. And Hart is H-A-R-T. Thank you for taking out time to talk with us about, what we're dealing with in society right now. I'm sure we'll be talking in the next few months about something else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Twanda. Always. Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye.
My pleasure. Great interview. To be a guest on the show, you can email me at twandablack@thepgnetwork.org or goodnews@thepgnetwork.org. Watch the show via PGN TV on all digital streaming apps. You can visit us at pgntv.org. We will see you next time with some good news. God bless you.